Just a Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to Just a Podcast, Episode 7. This week, Trey learns to read, I learn to write.
I'd never learned to write before. I mean, read.
I mean, talk.
I've never had a podcast.
So,
welcome back.
Yeah,
to
it's
everybody.
It's been a wonderful week since we last spoke to you guys. I'm sure you can agree. Hopefully. You guys enjoyed last week's episode, so I heard in all the feedback that we got from last week's episode, because we're not recording this before last week's episode was released. So we're gonna get straight into section 1, which is our weird articles section.
Yeah.
We gave each other code words as always, and just to make sure we didn't have the same article. Trey, what was your code word?
McDonald's.
And mine was nails.
Yes.
So
we are talking about two
rather
different things. Yeah.
All right. So Trey, why don't you start?
I always start. Okay.
I think you always also say I always start. I'll start if you want me to.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Scientists say McDonald's fries could cure baldness.
Wow.
Yeah.
At the price of obesity, I assume.
For years, men have been searching for the cure for baldness, and finally, scientists may have the answer. McDonald's fries. Scientists have discovered that the chemicals used to cook McDonald's French fries may assist with hair growth.
Well, then it's not the fries.
I know. What a bait and switch.
What a bait and
switch.
switch.
But you couldn't
what
not
a
write.
fry and switch.
But tell me you got that information. You were the first one privy to it as a journalist, and you did not write the headline, McDonald's fries help hair growth. Like you would not have. Because I probably would have.
I don't know, man. I'm not saying no. I'm just saying I never really thought about it that way. And now I have a frame of reference, so...
According to MSN News, a research team from Yokohama National University in Japan have found that dimethyl polysiloxane, I'm going to cut that so I said it in the first try, helps hair grow on mice. Wait a minute.
These are fascinating. What another bait and switch.
The chemical is put into the oil used to cook fries in order to prevent it from splattering. Wow, you know what? God's an amazing thing because he invented something that was like, yeah, okay, it's got 2 properties. 3, 1, you can cook French fries with it. 2, the oil doesn't splatter. 3, put it on a mouse, hairy motherfucker. that mouse has so much hair. Isn't God great? The study, which was published in the journal Biomaterials, believes the findings will be applicable to human subjects too. This simple method is very robust and promising, says Junji Fukuda, one of the study's authors. We hope that this technique will improve human hair regenerative therapy to treat hair loss such as androgenic alopecia.
Okay, so let me stop you right there. I usually try not to stop you in the middle of an article, but let me stop you right there. There's 2 ways to look at this. The first way is the obvious, they're testing what chemicals work on what animals. The second option is they dropped a bald fucking mouse to boil it in oil. And then they were like, wait, stop, it's growing hair.
Alternatively, they were eating French fries near the lab and accidentally dropped it on one bald pot, like one mouse with a bald spot. And he's like, I don't have to get a toupee anymore. Like he's really happy about it.
I don't know. There's a couple different ways to look at this, and I prefer the latter. One of the latter 2.
Scientists were able to produce around 5,000 hair follicle germs, whatever that is, using dimethyl polysiloxane. When these hair follicles were transplanted onto bald mice... Wait a minute, it didn't even grow on the bald mice.
Yeah, it didn't even grow on the bald mice. It grew
follicles, and they had to put it on a different mouse.
What another bait and switch.
I know. Nothing. That's how they catch the mice. They're like, cheese. Actually, it's a French fry, but it'll help you grow your hair. Sort of. It'll help another mouse grow its hair. Here, come in the cage.
He's like, the mouse is just like, by the end, he's like, well, at least I got a French fry.
While further research still needs to be done before it can be applied to humans. Oh, yeah. No shit, Sherlock. Scientists said the results were, quote-unquote, promising.
That's pretty good.
We hope this technique will improve human hair regenerative therapy to treat hair loss such as androgenic alopecia, said Fukuda. You already said that, Fukuda.
Yeah, Fukuda. What's your problem?
What the Fukuda? According to Andrology Australia, significant balding affects about 20% of men in their 20s and 40% of men in their 40s.
So for every decade you live, your percentage of baldness goes up by 10%.
While the journal article written by Kwan Q. Din and Rodney Sinclair, these are just the fakest sounding names I've ever heard. It says more than 55% of women will also experience some degree of hair loss in their lifetime. Also, naked dating girl. I only picture women naked, according to the list of articles I may also like.
I'd believe it. All right, so here's mine. It's also worth noting, most of the time, Trey and I click on these because of the headline. I don't think we've read 90% of the articles before reading them out loud.
That's 100% true. Yes.
Never. So, just forewarning, some of these might be a dud at some point in the future. Mine's significantly shorter. But it's the headline.
Did you call my McDonald's fry mouse hair growing article a dud?
No. I'm just disclaiming this just in case the headline is all it is. Doctors find 263 coins, 100 nails inside man complaining of stomach pain.
Oh man, my stomach. What'd you eat?
263 coins and 100 nails.
Oh,
I wonder if that has something to do with it. Yeah,
any beans?
The beans will really help that. So, doctors in India treating a man who Doctors in India treating a man who complained of stomach pain found 263 coins and 100 nails in his stomach.
What if they missed one?
The patient was complaining of stomach pain, so we thought of getting an endoscopy. Endoscopy, probably.
I don't know.
Done. For anyone out there, I don't know medicine. Said the doctor who led the surgical team.
I don't know medicine, said the doctor who led the surgical team.
We were shocked to discover that coins, nails, and nut bolts were found in his stomach. We've come across such a case for the first time in our career. That's literally the article.
They're like, never removed 263 coins and 100 nails from a man's stomach in India before. Did it once in Argentina. Here in India, first time for everything. India's a special place, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, you're not wrong. India is a special place. Have you heard about
the Brahmin?
Have you heard about the Taj-Mahal? You don't see that kind of shit here.
My favorite thing is that it's the Taj Mahal does not have like the word hall in it in any way, shape, or form. But if you wanted to call it like this is the Hall of Taj-ma, I don't think people would do that. Yeah, but they could, and they would be like, "Oh yes, this is the Taj Mahal." You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you. I just don't think anyone would ever do that.
Why not?
Taj Mahal, the Hall of Taj. That's pretty good.
They say the pyramids of Giza all the time.
Yeah,
I don't know who that Giza was, but he built a damn good pyramid.
Oh wait, maybe Giza was pyramid shaped, and those are in honor of him.
Oh, his head was just shaped like a pyramid.
Yeah.
He's like the Hey Arnold of Egypt. It's like, hey, football head. And he's like, I have you know that this is a perfectly shaped rectangular base pyramid. Also, footballs won't be invented for another 3,000 years.
Get it right. Get it straight. I need you to understand the future.
It's like, you're referencing a cartoon that will come out 5,000 years from now. I just asserted that football was 2,000 years old by accident.
No, you know what's even funnier than that?
No.
I don't either. I was really trying to think of a joke real quick, and I was out. I disappointed everyone, including myself. Let me think of one.
Yeah.
You know what's even funnier than that?
What?
Crackers.
What a cracker.
Hold on, let me try one more time.
Yeah, okay, no, I got you. Everybody forget about the other one.
Yeah, everyone forget about the other 2 times I failed you. You know what's even funnier than that? Where did the cow go to watch a movie? Fuck.
I love this character. I love this idea of a character. He gets up on stage for his first time doing stand-up comedy, and he's like, "All right, guys, just want to throw a couple jokes at you real quick. If the chicken wanted to get the other side, oh wait, shit.
Let me try again. And then I woke up." He starts with the punchline.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
What's the lead up?
He doesn't know.
Oh, I see.
He forgot the lead up. He's not a good comedian. Much like us.
He gets up there and he's like, and so I said, Who ordered the ravioli anyway?
And the crowd is just like, I'd like some ravioli. I didn't order any, but I'm starting to wish I did now that you mentioned it.
Yeah, I tried the veal.
The other guy's like, I tried the airline food. What's the deal with that?
They never have any peanuts.
Dude,
I've never been on an airplane. Have they ever have peanuts?
Yeah, they give you peanuts.
Are they good peanuts?
So when I went
to
Germany this last summer.
Yeah, but are they good peanuts? You're dodging the question.
I was gonna cover it in my story. Okay, when I went to Germany this last summer, my first flight was actually, it was supposed to be a day flight, and it ended up being a night flight. And then my second flight was supposed to be a night flight, and it turned out to be a day flight. So that was cool, I guess. But the purpose of saying that was I experienced both meal types on the plane, right? Because they give you dinner and then they'll give you breakfast, right? So it's pretty cool. For dinner, they legit now it was these were more than likely microwavable stuff. Like, these are not gourmet meals or anything, right? I doubt they have a chef sitting in the back, but it was some legitimately good stuff, right? But at this time, I'd been sitting in an airport for an extra 12 hours than I was supposed to, right? Like, not 12 hours like a 12-hour layover, but I'm talking about like an extra 12 hours, which was ridiculous because basically my first flight got delayed, which was fine enough because I still had 2 hours to get to my other one. But then we literally sat in the terminal the plane was in the terminal sitting there for an hour and a half after it landed at the next airport. And I was like, well, I got a flight to get to. And then they were like, yeah, we're going to send a hold to your flight because we're about to let you guys go. And then I got off and I went to my second flight, and they had literally just closed the door that said this door cannot be opened after it is closed. The doors say that. That's not a joke. And I was like, hey, they were supposed to send a hold, and they're like, we didn't get a hold. There's no such thing as a hold. And I'm like, oh, I see. Cool. So anyway,
such thing as a hold.
Yeah.
So wait, yeah. Why did one of them lie to you?
Yeah, probably she probably just crossed her fingers and hoped that I'd get off in time. Either way though, I ended up eating dinner, which was like a crazy good time. But because I was so angry at the situation, like they were like, "Would you like some wine?" I'm like, "Oh no, I don't have any money on me." And she's like, "No, it's free." And I'm like, "A complimentary wine? I'll take one." And then like every time she passed, I was like, "Another wine, please." And I had like 5 or 6 glasses of wine on this plane. Like, she didn't even say anything because I expected her to be like, "Sir, you've had too much." But she just kept giving me wine, and I wasn't even like thirsty. I didn't want to get drunk or get tipsy or anything. I just kept drinking it because I knew it was probably the most expensive thing that they carried, and I was pissed off at them.
And you were gonna get them back?
Yes, I was gonna get them back by drinking 2 bottles of wine. I didn't drink 2 bottles. It was alright. It wasn't like,
most of the wine I've had has been pretty garbo.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but it was enough for me to keep drinking it out of spite. So I don't know if that says miles about the flavor of the wine or miles about how far I'll go out of spite. But there we go. But on the way back, on the return trip, lunch was garbage. Lunch tasted terrible. And they gave me peanuts. Dry, hard, probably stale peanuts.
Were they salted?
No, actually. Not even salted. Peanuts? No. And they had a choice between unsalted peanuts or unsalted cashews. And I'm like,
cashews?
No, I took the peanuts.
Really?
Yeah, because I just prefer peanuts over cashews.
Wow, you're wrong.
I feel like I should have gone for the cashews because I feel like cashews might be better stale.
Cashews are the caviar of nuts. I love cashews.
Almonds are the caviar of nuts to me, dude.
No, because almonds are so cheap. Cashews are expensive.
Almonds are not cheap. You take that back.
They're less expensive than cashews.
Yeah, well,
caviar is like the most expensive. Like that's the point.
I know what caviar is.
No, that's my point. Is that cashews are the expensive one. If you want to get back at them, you should have grabbed some cashews. Cashews also are delicious.
Cashews are delicious.
And
if they had almonds, I'd take unsalted almonds over my legs any day.
Do you remember when we learned that cashews are a fruit?
Yeah.
That annoyed me.
Wasn't that Tobuscus who taught us that?
Oh, yeah. I thought I learned it in class.
Wait, no. Wait, did you know that cashews
come from a fruit?
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Something like that?
Yeah. Cashews for fruit.
Holy cow! I haven't thought about that in literally years.
Yeah, me neither.
Probably because he raped someone.
Oh yeah. How did that?
I don't know how that turned out.
I don't know either.
He's still on YouTube, so it can't have gone very far.
And he's still doing
litigation.
pretty well. So
is he really? Who watches Tobuscus?
Kids. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're not kids anymore. It's weird because I'm like, oh, Wheezy, whatever happened to WheezyWaiter? And it's like, oh, he's still making stuff. You're just too old for it now.
Yeah. I want to know how well he holds up.
Wheezy?
I haven't gone back and watched him in ever actually.
You know what?
Is he still doing a video a day?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not gonna lie to you though. If we're about to just transfer to talk about YouTubers, I don't think we can tag this on to the first segment any longer.
You know what? You're wrong. That's just the fact of the matter.
Okay. We'll see you guys.
No. I want to talk about WheezyWaiter still, and then
on
we
the
can.
First
And
segment?
then on the first segment.
Okay,
This
fine.
has been a direct offshoot of what the segment started off as. So no, you know what? Yeah.
What does WheezyWaiter have to do with McDonald's hair growth? Oh, he's bald.
No. Yeah. Oh yeah. WheezyWaiter's bald. Okay. So because WheezyWaiter is bald, he has 1,000 videos.
Oh, dude, I'm sure he's more than that. So JacksFilms has like 1,200 or something like that.
Does
at this
he?
point. Yeah.
Wow.
JacksFilms has made so many videos. Like especially if you're counting both channels. Because isn't there a JacksFilms 2 or something?
Is there?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
It's like Jack. It might just call me Jack. Be called Jack. Because JacksFilms is just Jack.
WheezyWaiter hasn't aged.
No, WheezyWaiter looks exactly the same.
He looks exactly the same.
Oh, he just had a baby.
He did?
Yeah, it was terrible. Blood everywhere. Yeah.
This is really messing with me, man. Yeah, YouTube says he only has 1K videos. It won't tell me. He still does Explosion Wednesday.
No, well, we're not sure if it's a thing yet.
Well, you're right. Wow, that was really good. That was. Please don't tell me he's. Hold on.
He's still doing that. We're not gonna listen to WheezyWaiter on that.
It's a new weekly thing we're trying out. We'll see. Saturday, 8 a.m.
He still says it's a weekly thing. The video, you guys didn't see it, but it started off with Explosion Wednesday, and it was a picture of an explosion, and then he says, it's a new weekly thing that we're trying out. Wow, I've never seen a guy commit more to a joke than that. And Trey still saying that he's straight. Let's move on to the commercial break, and we'll see you guys on the second segment.
Shut up.
What's up, man?
I think a new phone. Do you want to buy this one?
How much you talking?
Like, I bought it for like 110. You want to buy it for 70?
Just 70. I'll give you 30 for it, dude.
40.
30.
No.
I'm not budging. 30. That's all I got.
35.
30.
35.
30.
Well, I guess you don't get a phone.
All right, fine. Go find someone who'll buy it for you then.
You want to buy my phone? Feel free to call me at my phone at 508-848-7414. That was 508-848-7414. You'll know it works if I pick it up.
Just a podcast.
Joshua,
Yeah.
welcome back. Top 5 video games of all time.
Of all time.
Yeah, hit me up. I'm trying to come up with mine. I put you on the spot, so I got some time to come up with mine.
Okay, number 5.
Yeah.
Number 5. Man,
Josh was literally looking at his video game shelf. Like,
no, I'm actually just looking into the distance.
Oh, it just
but
happens to be in the direction.
in the direction of my video game shelf because that's where my head is pointing.
Mm.
Man, you know what? I talk about like my top 5, like top 10 favorite games all the time, but I don't know if I actually have an answer. I'm gonna limit it like one per series kind of deal
Sure, that's
to
reasonable.
try to make sure that it.
How about you give your 5, I give my 5. So
We'll go back and forth. I'll say tentatively, my number 5 favorite game is going to be. I'll rep my Pokemon card here. I'll say Pokemon X. It's my number 1 Pokemon game, and it's probably number 5 in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. It's weird that you would pick a game that sucks so bad for your number 5. Check out the dopeness that's my number 5. Bum, 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 bum. You guys ever played...
Dog?
Now I'm going to save this game for later. You guys ever played Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep? That game rules. That game is so good. The only issue, all right, I will tell you this: if you don't know the rest of the Kingdom Hearts story, it's hard to do that. It's hard to enjoy this game. But if you could interweave it, this one could either be Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep or Kingdom Hearts 2, whichever one you find to be more accessible, because they're both very similar. But Birth by Sleep has the better storyline, so play that one. It's a very good one. Number 5. Don't get it on PSP. Get the HD remaster on PS3 or PS4. Number 5.
All right, cool. I didn't know we were selling the game too. All right, let me get into mode then. Number 4. My number 4 favorite game, and these are all like right off the top of my head, guys. Right? We're not like really sitting here trying to compile a huge list. So these are games that are on my mind. I'm probably gonna say number 4 is gonna rep my Zelda card. It's just gonna be Breath of the Wild. This is a rather tough one. I think Breath of the Wild is my number 1 Zelda because it's most present in my mind. But I do have Zeldas that I tentatively like more, but I have to go back and play some of those, and I have to give Breath of the Wild time to age. It hasn't even had a year yet at this point. But I think Breath of the Wild is an incredible game. And you know, I really thought that because I bought the DLC just recently, and I went back to start playing the DLC, and I've fallen in love with the game again. And I really expected to go back, and it felt like a grind, especially so close to after I first played it. But no, it really, it's really nice, man. I'm a big fan of Breath of the Wild. I think it did a lot of amazing things. As far as exploration goes, it's probably, I feel comfortable saying it's probably the single most game that allows you to explore in the best ways possible. Best ways possible. Let me rephrase that part. To allow you to explore the way that you want to, regardless of how you're feeling, because there are so many different ways that you can move around in that game, and you can scale almost every wall in the game, and you could do all this fun magnesis stuff and play around with kinetic energy. There's a lot of ways to do a lot of things in that game, and it's just like what it lacks in story, it makes up for in what you can do on your own. I'm 22 years old, and sometimes I'll find myself like reciting stories in my head while I'm playing the game, like I did with action figures as a kid. It's just like it's a wonderful experience. I love it a lot. 4 out of 5.
Number 4 for me, better than his poopy dumb game. Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2, better than Mass Effect 1, better than Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect 1 is probably a 9 out of 10 game. Mass Effect 3, probably an 8.5 out of 10 game. So if that tells you anything, that means it's at least a 9.00001. Enjoy.
The reason I said 4 out of 5 is because it was my 4th out of 5th game.
Oh, I see.
Which means that my number 1 is going to be a 1 out of 5. I'll agree with you. Mass Effect 2 is the best right? Mass Effect. Yeah. Hands down. The problem is you can't get the full story out of it without playing Mass Effect 1, so it's kind of like a 50-hour long experience.
That's why, that's why I think of Birth by Sleep, too, with saying Birth by Sleep is the best Kingdom Hearts game. It is, in terms of the fact that, like, it is the furthest back, except for the weird prequel that we got in the 2.75 remix. Just ignore that one for a minute, though.
I'll have to Mike pick that up. It doesn't look like it did.
Well, there was another one, but I'm not counting it. So there was but other than that weird movie, Birth by Sleep is the furthest back that we have in terms of the prologue for the main story. Yeah. And it is so good.
Well, cool.
It's so good. And Mass Effect 2 does a good job of being the linchpin of the series and still being I would say, even though they were like trying so hard to make Mass Effect 3 the darkest one, it didn't feel right. Mass Effect 2 literally felt like a film noir.
Mass Effect 3, like at certain points in the game, felt like a complete chore.
Yeah,
like
when you got down to the good parts, it was great. When you got the bad parts, it was awful.
Well, and the problem with it is it was just like so obviously like, oh, was that a loose end? Let's tie that up real quick. And it just felt like so obviously like that at certain times, where it's just like every single thing will be tied up, but it didn't feel organic. It was just like, oh, here's a call from Rex. Let me go tie up this end. Here's Thane. Let me go watch him die.
Yeah, there were some parts. Spoiler alert for Mass Effect 3.
What was that? 2013.
Something like that. There are some parts that made some sense though, like just because of the storyline, where it's like if you're marching off to the front lines of war, you're like, shit, I better call those people I haven't spoken to.
Yeah.
Like I'm about to die.
No, there's some parts definitely make sense. That wasn't like a blanket statement, but at certain parts did feel just such like a chore and just so predictable.
If you say anything bad about Thane's death scene, I think your girlfriend will murder you. I don't know if you've ever said her name on the channel, but don't. So I won't. But she would. She loves Thane so much. I think she would act. I think that's what it is. I think you're just jealous of Thane.
No, actually, I like Thane, but it just felt like he was Garrus with a raspier voice, and they were too afraid to kill Garrus, so they killed Thane.
That's fair enough. That's really wow.
That's how I feel about Thane.
I don't know about that. I love how you liked him until you called him a borderline ripoff of another character, and then said they killed him.
No, I
off
liked his
because
character, but it just seemed too close to Garrus.
Yeah. Also, we forgot what we were doing.
Yeah.
Number 3 for Joshua.
You ready for the cop out of the night, guys?
Yeah, was it?
Number 3 is the tie between Metal Gear Solid 4 and Persona 5. Yeah. I didn't think my list well enough through, so I had to squeeze 6 games into 5 spots.
That's fair enough. Why do they deserve to be here?
Okay, so Metal Gear Solid 4, look. Metal Gear Solid 4 is a perfect cherry on top of my Metal Gear Solid ice cream
5
sandwich. I said 4.
I know,
Metal
but
Gear
5
Solid
came out after that, so this...
Well, no,
it's
but,
like if you put another cherry on top of
but
a
as
cherry.
far as closure goes of the series, we already knew how 5 was going to end because...
We know.
We know how... how Metal Gear starts. Yeah, so because we know how 5 is going to end. 5 is more about how do you get there rather than what is the story. But 4 is the end, as far as Metal Gear is concerned, Metal Gear Solid is concerned, it is the end of the new stories.
Yeah,
and I don't know, I'm sure we're going to get more because Konami, but as far as I'm concerned, that's the end of Solid Snake's line. And it is a roller coaster, man. I love everything about Metal Gear Solid 4 except for the what is his name? Dresden?
Yeah, well, he calls you every once in a while. I'm going to drop some straight exposition on you.
No, yeah, because he does it during the beauty fights. And what bothers me about the B&B Corps fights, what bothers me about that is he gives you that information. And first of all, they're almost copy-paste stories. Mm-hmm. But the problem with it is that you can cut all this blubbering out. I'm trying to remember. The problem with it is that the information that Drebin gives you in those codec calls is information that Otacon or Colonel or Mei Ling or somebody would have given you if you called them during the boss fight in other Metal Gear games.
Yeah.
It is stuff that you would get, optionally rather than like, here's a 5-minute conversation that you have to have. That being said, though, I think almost everything else about Metal Gear Solid 4 was really, really great. It's not my favorite Metal Gear game gameplay-wise, but probably by the way I felt by the end of the game, I'm going to say it's my favorite. Wonderful game. And then Persona 5, it was an experience. I'm not a JRPG guy. Trey's been trying to get me to play JRPGs for many moons.
At least 4 moons.
At least 4 moons. And I was told, hey, you need to play Persona 5. And so a friend let me borrow it, and I was just like, okay, whatever. I'm going to play this for 5 hours and be like, I don't get what all the hype's about, and then give it back to him. And I felt that way after the first day. I played like 2 hours on the dot, and I was like, I'm going to give it another day. And then I had a dream about it that night. And then I woke up, and I was like, all I want to do is play Persona 5. All I want to do is play Persona 5. And I hadn't even gotten to like the end of I didn't even gotten into, I don't want to give too many spoilers for Persona 5 because it's still relatively new.
Yeah, it's not even a year old.
No, it's not. But I hadn't even gotten into the first dungeon of the game. I was still in like the exposition area, and I was just like, I gotta keep playing, gotta keep going. I love this game. And then like, tore through it, finished it at like 103 hours, and got really sad when I finished it. And I would love to play it again.
Probably will.
And the cool thing about Persona 5 is like, I thought that the music would get really old for me because I'd been listening to Persona 5 music at the store that I work at since before Persona 5 came out because of the guy that I work with, who's like, he's like 500 hours deep in the game. and just through different playthroughs and stuff. And he had been playing the music almost nonstop since we first got it. And the only reason I haven't turned it off is because it's good music. And I was like, oh man, if I'm gonna play this game for 100 hours, I'm gonna get so bored of the music and it's gonna get so old. And no, not even a second of that music got old. And I've easily listened to this music for over 300 hours, and I still listen to it in my car. It's so good. So Persona 5 is a wonderful game. If you haven't played it, but you're on the fence, go get it. Yeah. You will not regret it, man. Yeah. Never ever.
I agree.
No, Trey's number 3. Boom, 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 boom.
Godly. So we had that one per franchise thing. Makes this really difficult for me because I've got like 4 Final Fantasy games I want to pick. They're gonna go later on in the thing because I'm about to do something really boring and put Persona 5 in my number 3 slot because that was where I was gonna put it, and then you did it first. So how about you go home and don't come back? Joshua's number 2.
Well, do you have anything to add to that?
That makes Persona 5 just improved everything about Persona 3 and Persona 4. All the characters are more important. And you might not know this. None of the confidant systems, it used to be called social links.
Yeah.
None of the social link systems in 3 or 4, outside of your main party, actually had any effect on your like major stats.
No, I didn't know that.
They were just ways to give bonus experience to your persona when you fuse someone within that arcana, within that like element type, basically, sort of, if you haven't played it. And so basically the NPCs, other than your party members, while they could be interesting, and they were very interesting, especially in 3 that I remember, didn't really... They weren't incentivized in the gameplay like they were in number 5, where there are a couple confidants in number 5 that straight up can break the game. Like Chio is one of them.
Chihaya?
Is it Chihaya?
The fortune teller?
Chio is it's someone from Naruto. I'm an idiot. Chihaya, yeah. So there's a fortune teller in there, and she can boost your stats like per day if you speak to her every day. You do have to. It does cost a little bit amount of money. Yeah. So but if you max her out immediately in the game, you basically can max out everyone else.
Yeah, I think. In fact, I think maxing out Chihaya and using her as much as you can is the only way that you can max out all your social stats and all your confidants in your first playthrough.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't think that there is any other way to do that other than to get with her as soon as you can and really, really work on her. So
yeah. That and the romance options were cooler. All right. Yeah. For top of her life. Joshua's number 2.
So my number 2, Trey's probably seen this coming a mile away.
I'll have to hear it first.
Bloodborne.
Oh yeah.
Bloodborne, for some reason. So when I first played Demon Souls, and you could rewind, and I think I had this conversation with Kyle when we first started playing Demon Souls on the channel. But when we first started playing Demon Souls, I was like, story in a Souls game, who cares? And I felt that way playing Demon Souls, and I felt that way playing Dark Souls, and I felt that way playing Dark Souls 2. And then I got into Bloodborne, and I felt that way for the first few minutes, and then I was just like, oh my goodness, this world is amazing. This world, like, I genuinely feel interested in what's going on here. And it's such an incredible experience as far as just the way the world interacts with the player. Through insight and everything is just wonderful. Not to mention, I just love that style of game. Just that kind of formulaic, learn how to do this. That's just always the kind of game that I've really loved. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, Bloodborne has resonated with me way stronger than I thought it ever would. It was way more than just a game to me, where it's like I haven't played it in over like 2 years since I beat it. Yeah. And I still sit here and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to play Bloodborne. I just don't have the time. But I would love to pick it up again and play it again and fall right back in love with it. And I'm actually, more than likely, my first tattoo is going to be the Bloodborne Hunter's Mark tattoo.
Right.
So, like, I absolutely love Bloodborne. It's got such a wonderful world, such wonderful gameplay, such great mechanics. Play it if you have a PS4. You can't play it if you don't.
Me number 2. Remember that thing, the Klasky Shupa, that came after Rugrats?
Oh yeah.
That was what I was trying to imitate.
Wow, that was
not a good imitation.
No.
All right, number 2 for me, I have to say, here's my cop out: tie between Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine. I love both of those games an unrelenting amount. And what's so funny is about them, I grew up with playing those games, and I did not like them nearly as much as I do now. When Joshua knocked on my door to get me to come out here to tell me he was ready to do the podcast, I was watching a video. I've been watching several videos in which I was learning the binary system in order to better understand the way that your high score records are saved in Super Mario 64. Like, I love Mario 64. I've learned to speedrun Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine. Nothing amazing. But, like, beating 64 in 20 minutes, beating Sunshine in at 2 hours and 15 minutes. Shut up. I know that's really, really high. But, they're just awesome games, and learning to speedrun them and learning how they work gives you so much insight into how they were constructed and how talented the people that constructed them have to be. Because while Mario 64 was one of the first 3D games ever made, and there are a lot of glitches in Mario 64 and a lot of mistakes that nowadays you would consider amateurish, but not nearly as many as you might imagine the first 3D platformer would have. Like, it is tightly made. It's amazing. And even though it's aged, I think you just sit down and play it for like 45 minutes to get used to the controls for a minute, and it's going to be awesome. You'll love it. And Sunshine's pretty much the same way, except it's a little.
You really need to get a Switch and play Odyssey, dude. Real bad.
Well, if a Switch was $300, are you going to give me $300?
I didn't say that I was going to give you anything. I was just saying I highly recommend it because I think you'll absolutely love Odyssey.
I'm sure I would. I've seen it, and it looks like Sunshine on steroids.
Yeah,
is what it looks
Flood.
Like. Yeah, but you get Cappy, which basically
it does similar concepts.
Well, it's just an item that allows you to platform, basically. But either way, all I know is play Sunshine. It's better than any of this crappy, poopy Galaxy nonsense. I've never played Galaxy.
I've never played Galaxy either. I actually genuinely would love to play Galaxy.
I don't know.
Haven't
I'm a little nervous about playing anything with motion controls in it.
That's fair.
Joshua's #1 game of all time.
It's my #1 is I don't have one.
Really?
No, that's a lie. Paper Mario 1000 Year Door, baby.
Oh, Paper Mario was probably #6 on my list, dude.
Yeah, Paper Mario 1000 Year Door, wonderful game. Great game. Play it. Does everything that regular Paper Mario does, except way better. Not the Paper Mario. I love regular Paper Mario, guys. Don't get me wrong. It might even be in my top 10. I don't know. But, because I didn't know my top 5 until we started having this conversation. But, Paper Mario 1 has been my #1 for many moons. I love it. Paper Mario 1. I meant Paper Mario 1000 Year Door.
At least 4 moons.
At least 5 moons, dude. It has been my favorite for a long, long time. It's an incredible experience. It's such a quirky game, but not over the top quirky like you see in some of the newer Mario games. It's the last true Mario RPG that we've gotten, unless you want to count the Mario and Luigi's.
GBAs, yeah.
Which we've gotten those as new as the DS, and of course you got Paper Jam, and I never played Paper Jam, so there's a good chance that Paper Jam is actually really, really good, and I just never played it.
Yeah.
But it's just great, guys. It's a wonderful system that it uses. Just a relatively simplistic battle system, but then you sprinkle in action commands and like the ability to control it independently, like depending on the move, more so than the original Paper Mario had. And just great. It's great. It's wonderful. I love the game. I've been thinking about it a lot lately too. Mm-hmm. But it's been my number 1 for a long time. So yeah, that was my #1. It's good to get that off my chest, to air it out. Paper Mario 1000 Year Door, my favorite favorite game ever. Mario.
Yeah, Joshua's never said that ever before. Joshua never once said that 1000 Year Door was his favorite game of all time, especially not during any of 40 20-minute videos when we played Paper Mario.
It's just really good to get that off my chest, man. I've been holding it in for so long. So I'm just glad. And let's see what terrible game you've chosen.
Trace #1. Trace #1. Trace #1. Trace #1. Trace #1. Hey, you guys ever play Final Fantasy before? It's the greatest franchise ever created.
Nah.
I do not say that lightly. I've never played a bad Final Fantasy game. Even the old Final Fantasy games are great. So what game am I going to pick for my number 1, you might be asking?
Can I guess?
Sure.
9.
Yeah. I love Final Fantasy 9 so much.
Do you know how I know that?
How?
Because when I knock on your door and you open your door and I look on your TV screen and you're playing a game, the game that I've walked in on you playing the most is Final Fantasy 9.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Either that or, Mario. Mario
Fantasy
64, especially when we first lived together. Mario 64 all the time, but
Final Fantasy 9 was the game that I grew up playing as a kid. A lot of people don't know that Final Fantasy 9 is a co-op game, because you just have to go in the options and set it up that way. Final Fantasy 9 is a game to play with your friends. It's a game to play alone. It's a game if you want to customize things. It's a game if you want to roll through with default settings. It's a game with great story. It's a game that you could just enjoy the gameplay for. It is the way that I got my fiance to play video games for the first time ever, and it's always been...
Did he like it?
Yeah, he loved it. And now, all she ever says it's her favorite game. And oh my god, she's going to kill me because I forgot another game that I really love. Insert this either tied with 3 or 2. Tales of Xillia is also really good, but we'll go back to Final Fantasy 9 now. Play Final Fantasy 9. It is genuinely one of the greatest games of all time. I've played it 4 times from beginning to end. And it's at least like a 60-hour game. And most of those files were 80 or 90. I used to keep a final boss save left on and just reboot it and fight the final boss again, and then turn it back off and go, that was a good ass game. So if that means anything to you, go pick up a good ass game and play Final Fantasy 9. PS1, you can play it on PS3. You can also get it on PC now, I think, on Steam.
Yeah, you can.
So enjoy that.
It sounds to me like Final Fantasy 9 is your Thousand Year Door.
Oh,
just the way that we've described our emotional connection to the game over the ages.
And Final Fantasy 9. Final Fantasy 9 is also one of those games that has so many secrets. Did you know that they just recently, within the last few years, this game came out in 1999, maybe 2000. I think it was 99 though. It was found there was a side quest that no one knew about until 2 years ago.
Wow, really?
Yes, really. It was nobody had ever heard of it. There's a 20+ year missing side quest that, first of all, really difficult to bump into because it requires you to leave story areas and drive all the way back to some town you have no reason to go to and talk to the same guy after you finish a bunch of different arbitrary things.
How far away is it?
Depends from where you're headed, but Limblum is on the first continent that you travel to. As soon as you get an airship, it's not that bad.
It's a long golf swing.
Oh.
So you have to drive. Welcome to Joshua Isn't It Funny. Tonight at 7. Welcome back. I'm not funny.
It's 7 o'clock.
Do you mind if I flip the script on you real quick? And ask you one last question before we close this up? Assuming it's time to close up. I actually truthfully don't know. Worst game you've ever played?
The worst game I've ever... Rocket Power on the PS1.
Really? That's the worst?
That game is awful. Have you ever played it? You gave it to me.
I
but
gave
have
it to
you
you.
ever actually played it?
Yeah.
Oh,
but I don't know if I'd call it the
God.
worst because you know what the worst is?
What?
Addam's Family on NES.
Oh. These are both very good answers. Rocket. Just look up footage of people playing. Don't look at people who speedrun Rocket Power on the PS1.
Yeah, try to find a blind Let's Play or something.
Somebody who's just
skip
started.
forward an episode or two to let them learn the controls.
It's terrible. It's actually terrible. If you don't stopping and standing still on a bicycle, with your character making no motion, is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Jumping into the air. The first level is collect 5 bicycle parts, and you're inline skating around to pick up bicycle parts. Your jumps don't hop the size of 1 step, but the bicycle part is at the top of a patio that has 5 steps. I only picked it up because I bailed so hard that the character model clipped through the stairs and picked it up. And there's a time limit, a minute and a half time limit. It is, oh my god, awful. My brother and I sat there and played it for 45 minutes, and we got to the second level. It was terrible. I've never played a game that bad. Addam's Family was bad. I'm not even about to play with you. Addam's Family was bad, but Rocket Power is worse.
That's
2 licensed games. I wonder if that has anything to do with anything.
Yeah, well. Okay, so let's find something to talk about for another 10 minutes. We don't have to include that part. We don't have to include the part where I'm just like, fuck, dude, I'm out. My pockets are empty, but we gotta stay here to punch that clock a little bit longer.
I'm gonna leave it in so everybody knows that all you care about is that good AdSense. Our videos aren't monetized. No, none of our videos are monetized. Okay, well,
how do you feel about you know what? Hold on. This might open up this might open up another conversation. I don't know if we can get only 10 minutes out of this.
But go ahead. Well, fuck it. Let's do it.
So let's cut to a commercial break. Let's hear another word from our sponsors. and then we'll get into this, all right?
Pokemon になった君が仲間と共に世界を救う720種類のポケモンが勢ぞろい Nintendo 3DS ポケモン超不思議のダンジョン予約受付中
Just a podcast.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I know something we can do to fill these last few moments of our boring lives before the podcast turns off and we hang ourselves.
Your glasses get as dirty as mine. Thank God. So Morgan hates me.
Well, thank God somebody is talking about glasses on an audio show.
Morgan gets so mad at me when my glasses are dirty. And she's like, how can anyone live with dirty glasses? My glasses get dirty. So dirty.
Glasses get dirty really, really quick, really, really easily. I clean my glasses probably once a day.
I clean them like 3 times a day.
Yeah, well, I guess, you know what? I was honestly self-conscious about how often I cleaned my glasses until you said you clean yours 3 times a day. I definitely clean mine very, very often.
So why did you just lie to me about how often you clean your glasses? So you wouldn't feel bad about how dirty your glasses are?
No, I thought it was maybe more of like a I have a problem. I'm like, I have this like dependency of this motion of taking off my glasses and cleaning them. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you don't wet them when you clean them.
No, I don't. I just wipe them with the soft cloth.
That's why they've got shit on them.
Still. No. I Windex them at work a lot because we just have Windex there. So I Windex them at work probably. You don't want to do that because it'll cause screen tearing. Will it? Will it though?
Yeah. You ever Windex the computer monitor?
Yeah.
It fucking fucks your shit up bad.
Good thing my glasses aren't a computer monitor. So Trey,
I thought you were an Android. I don't know if any of that's going on.
So I know what I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
What's your favorite game on each console then?
Each console?
Yeah, so we're going to run down the list, all right? Okay, NES, favorite game.
Castlevania.
Okay, cool. That's also mine. Okay. Or Punch-Out. Castlevania 1,
Yeah, Punch-Out's good.
Or maybe Super Mario Brothers 3 because of the memories, but like one of those.
Yeah.
So, okay, 2, SNES. Let's go. We're just gonna hit major consoles here.
Final Fantasy 6.
For me, it's
maybe 4.
For me, it's I didn't play much SNES, so probably Super Mario World. I really did not play much SNES. Okay. Yeah. Let's go. The Genesis.
I haven't played a lot of Genesis. I played Shadowrun.
I played Mortal Kombat 2 on Genesis. I know it's also on SNES, but I played it on Genesis a lot. I grew up with 3 Genesis games, so. And one of them was Jurassic Park, one of them was Lion King, and the other was Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, so Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Okay, let's go N64.
Mario 64.
Mario 64. Mine is probably going to be Majora's Mask.
That's fair enough.
Okay, PS1.
Final Fantasy 9.
Shoot, I didn't think this through. I didn't even have an answer planned. Metal Gear Solid. All right. But I also did not play any PS1 as growing up. Let's go GameCube. It has to be one you haven't said yet.
What, in my list?
Yeah, in your top 5 list.
This is before we find out I own like almost no Backyard Baseball. Backyard Baseball is a surprisingly good game. Okay. It's actually really, really fun.
Let me think. I played a ton of GameCube. GameCube is probably my favorite console.
It's a great console, but I just unfortunately didn't own that many like great games for it.
Yeah,
I don't. That's the issue is that there weren't a lot of standout amazing.
Give me a second.
GameCube
Let me go
games.
look at my GameCube games.
Okay, here I am running a podcast by myself because Joshua got up to look at his GameCubes. You know what? Sometimes I wonder if we truly are cut out for this profession. Or this world, in fact. Hold on. I'm going to shove a gun barrel in my mouth. Cool.
The problem with me having played a lot of GameCube is I played a lot of the same game over and over again.
What game?
Paper Mario 1000.
He's coming back.
Probably Twilight Princess.
That's fair
I
enough.
know that's breaking our one franchise rule, but we've already done that. So, Twilight Princess.
Nice.
One franchise per console, and since you're only naming one game per console, it names itself.
Ow.
All right, let's go PS2.
Either Final Fantasy X or legit like one of the SmackDown versus Raw games. I'm not sure which one. They were great. They were so fun.
Those are good answers.
Thank you.
Mine is Metal Gear Solid 3.
That's also a good answer.
Yeah.
PS3.
PS3. Shoot. Man, I don't have an answer for this.
Really?
I don't. I didn't think this far ahead. Are we skipping? We're missing Xbox. Neither of us played Xbox, did we?
I had an Xbox and a 360.
Okay. No, original Xbox.
Yeah, I had an Xbox and a 360.
Oh, I thought you said X. Okay, sorry. Name your favorite Xbox game then.
Knights of the Old Republic. Star Wars Knights of the Old
Yeah, that's a
Republic.
pretty good one. If I name an Xbox
Or
one,
Battlefront
it's just-
2.
If I name an Xbox game, it's just going to be a PS2 game that
Also was on the
released on Xbox. So they're probably Stubbs the Zombie. Actually, let's say Stubbs the Zombie.
I'm not familiar with this game. I've never heard of it.
It's actually a super like unknown game. Like nobody talks about it, even though it's a game that everyone should talk about. But you play as this like this pimp zombie.
Pimp Zombie?
Yeah, and you can like throw your organs and they explode and stuff. Like I only played it at a friend's house for about half an hour to an hour. But it like stuck with me for a really long time to the point where I was starting to ask customers like, "Hey, you're buying, Xbox games because you're a collector. What is this game with this guy?" And I explained it to them. They're like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." And it took me years to find out the name of it, and I just recently found it out, probably like 7 months ago or so. So Stubbs the Zombie.
We should get you like a completely legal Xbox emulator instead of buying an Xbox because...
PS3. Let me think.
Yes. I'm letting you do it.
Do you have one on PS3?
Tales of Zillia.
That's a good one. That's a good answer.
Potentially Tales of Zillia 2. Both great games.
They don't have to be exclusives, right? It's just games that you played on the PS3.
Yeah, well, both those were exclusives, but whatever. I don't really care. Aren't there... I mean, I'm really surprised. Oh, you're trying not to do your list. That's right.
Yeah.
I was about to say, why don't you just say MGS4? Also, what has happened? This podcast is completely devolved into Joshua staring fucking blankly at a stack of video games and me on the microphone.
Okay, so I'm not saying it's my favorite one, but here's a really underrated one that I wish more people played. Singularity on PS3.
I'm not
Really good game. It's BioShock-esque in the sense of like you get this thing that gives you powers and then you have to like go between your gun and this thing that gives you powers as the story goes along. But really good game. You get this thing that gives you, it's the TMD, time manipulation device, and you can like mess around with stuff and move it through time, and you even get to the point where it's like, oh, here's a bad guy, and you can literally age him into dust.
Oh, that's kind of cool though.
It's a really cool game and super underrated. I just think it kind of fell under the rug because a couple other games similar to it were coming out. So yeah. So it's either that or Dishonored, but they're fairly similar games in idea, but not really. I think anybody who heard me say that was like, how? So that's a different story, but it's either one of those two. Okay. P360.
Jesus, just a list of Final Fantasy games. So, I was gonna say Final Fantasy 13, but here, different game because it needs to be one. Call of Duty 2.
Really? I was thinking about saying Call of Duty 3.
Straight up Call of Duty 2. I like Call of Duty 2 because it was before they started like adding all the bells and whistles. I think sometimes when games are stiff but basic, they're a lot better than when they're fluid and have like 30 different mechanics.
Yeah, I was thinking Call of Duty 3. It was the first game I ever got on my 360.
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, I did the same thing I was talking about earlier that I did with Breath of the Wild. I would like just load up a multiplayer map with like my sister or my brother, and then we would like make up a story, and like she'd be like, "Oh, this is my house," and I'd like take one of the cars because yes, kids, there used to be cars in Call of Duty that you can drive.
In 3?
Yeah.
Oh, 3's my new answer.
And I would like drive over to her house and be like, hey, what's up? Let's go hang out, and like we'd
someone
go
would shoot somebody.
Yeah, and then we'd inevitably shoot each other and be like, oh, I'm so sorry. And there was like one time I was like running around pretending to be a deer. It was a good time, grand old time. But if that doesn't count, I'd probably say Portal just because I don't want to add a PC category. So Portal would probably be my answer.
Yes,
So.
good answer.
PS4.
Not Persona 5. Not Persona 5 at all. Instead, I would say Final Fantasy 15. I'm so bad. So I'm not going to lie to you though, Joshua. You were like, oh, I don't like JRPG games. But then like actually 3/5 of your list was JRPGs. 4 if you count Bloodborne. You had Paper Mario, Pokemon, Persona 5.
I guess you're right, but I guess what it really comes down to is like,
I know there's a category
it's
that people think
different-
of as JRPG.
yeah,
that's
it's like hard and fast. Is let me get my Dishonored 2.
Now let's go back to the other conversation.
Yeah. So like, I think that, yeah. I don't know. It's just, I think of a JRPG as a game that takes you 60 hours to beat, in addition to having RPG-ish things. That's just like, whenever I think JRPG, those are some of the elements I think of.
Yeah.
You know, like, not necessarily turn-based, but, you know, turn-based-ish battle systems. Really, really, really long gameplay, typically where you battle gods and you fight these huge creatures. And so that's just not what Pokemon or Bloodborne or what was the Persona 5
Yeah, all of those games are like that.
Well, I want to consider Pokemon like that. Pokemon you can beat in 20 hours. JRPG for me is mostly just a quantifier of time, but I have much less interest in like the medieval fantasy genre than I do in a lot of other genres. That's why I love Bloodborne a lot more than I like Dark Souls.
It's so weird that you would say that when most JRPGs don't have that setting. Like literally, I probably couldn't name 3 JRPGs I've played that have a medieval fantasy setting, but then you like Skyrim.
I do like Skyrim.
So I don't really understand where
I like
this is coming
Skyrim
from.
for different reasons.
Yeah, because you like games that are really buggy and are not fun to play. I'm sorry. I'm the hater of Skyrim.
We could have a whole podcast on Skyrim.
We will next week. That's not true.
We have legitimately had over a 2-hour-long conversation about Skyrim,
and why it
and
sucks.
still had more to say. No, I don't know, man. For some reason, like, I just can't find it in my brain. Like, technically, yes, those are all JRPGs, but I just can't find it in my brain to consider them JRPGs. You know? Does that make any sense?
I mean, yeah, but then the qualities you listed were that they're long games with turn-based combat, and you battle gods, and it's like you do those things in Persona and in Pokemon. I can't say anything about Bloodborne.
But you do those. The way I'm thinking about it is like, probably the biggest thing is, I don't know, things that feel more like a movie than a game, or things that have more dialogue than gameplay. Like Persona 5, which is the only thing that I consider the real JRPG on that list, is
really dialogue heavy.
Probably more dialogue than gameplay. That's probably an exaggeration, but it's a lot of dialogue, a lot of it. And so it's just that those are other qualifiers. It's just like I said, I just can't find it in my head to consider Paper Mario a JRPG, even though it technically is. Yeah, and probably more than just a technicality. But in my head, it just doesn't fit. And maybe I just need to work on what my head considers an JRPG. Yeah. I definitely consider those RPGs.
They are.
Yeah, but I don't consider them JRPGs.
Do you call Bloodborne an RPG?
I call it an action RPG.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
So, then you have 4 out of 5 RPGs on your...
I told you, RPGs aren't what I say I don't like.
Yeah, but they're all made in Japan, too.
Well, that's why I said technically they're all JRPGs. Zelda Breath of the Wild is
oh wow! Yeah. You might have a 5 out of 5 JRPGs.
5 out of 6
on your
Metal Gear Solid.
Well, you'd be hard pressed to call it an RPG, but it's pretty close. It doesn't have stat building.
Yeah, that's true.
Not really.
If it had stat building, though, I'd call it an RPG. I think.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. If it had stat building, it'd be considered a JRPG. I think.
Yeah.
Aside from what I consider, maybe that's not a staple of JRPGs, being taking a really, really long time to beat. and that's just what I consider it. And maybe that's
It
not,
depends on the game. Yeah.
maybe that's not a completely accurate assessment, but
No.
I don't know. I'd like to do a little bit more research into what separates an RPG, a Western RPG, and a JRPG, like
One's made in
officially. Well, yes, I know that, but like, is there more to the genre than that? I'd like to.
Sure.
I'd like to really look into it because there are things that I can look at, like, you know, anime art styles and stuff, where it's like, oh, that's obviously a JRPG,
Yeah.
you know, and then there are things like Thousand Year Door where it's like, well, it's technically a JRPG, but I would never call it that.
Yeah.
You know,
JRPGs typically have like big qualities of major JRPGs. Young teenage protagonist.
yeah,
Typically blonde for some reason. I don't know how this started, but Cloud, Tidus, Zidane, Vaughn, like most of the Final Fantasy heroes
Prompto,
are well.
Prompto.
Prompto's not really the main guy.
No, he's not
So,
the main guy, but he's in the main party,
Yeah.
an unchangeable main party.
Yeah. There's always that guy. Typically the main character is a sword wielder. Typically they are some sort of prophecy child. Typically they defeat some sort of god by the end of the story. And a lot of the time it's turn based. A lot of the time it's very dialogue heavy. And most of the characters are pretty young. I would say that's a lot of.
See, but I couldn't say that about
Paper Mario.
Paper Mario. I couldn't say that
You
about,
said about Pokemon.
Well, you could say the young and the beating the gods, but and turn based, but everything else they're not prophesized in most Pokemon games. In like maybe one or two they are, but I don't even know about that.
Right.
But in most Pokemon, because the prophecies are mostly about the Pokemon in Pokemon, like they're about the god Pokemon, not about the characters, the main characters.
Sure.
But
But yeah, I think if you have
Gen 4 was awfully more mythological than all the other ones, though. So I think you may have been prophesized in Gen 4.
it's probably the best Pokemon then if it's closer to other JRPGs instead of that tribe.
So and you definitely can't say that about Bloodborne. Bloodborne, there's no prophecy. In fact, your character dies about 1,000 times.
Well, maybe he was prophesied not to die for good.
1,001th time.
Yeah. Okay. We've sat here and wasted your time with video games enough. Why don't you give us a like and a subscribe and tell us what are your top 5 games? What's a terrible game you've played?
Yeah, and then tell us your favorite game on every console that was not in your top 5. And try to do it as quickly as possible. Try not to think about it too much.
Yeah. Why don't you just leave an essay length comment?
Yeah, where if I read it out loud, it would be as long as or longer than this podcast.
Someone's gonna
Alex is
paste up
really
mice
do
and
it.
men.
Alex is gonna do that. He's gonna do something stupid. Alex, I got my eye on you.
Yeah.
All right.
But if you pulled your eye out and you put it on me, wouldn't you be dead?
Wow, that sounds so much like Alex. Alex, if you thought that was stupid when Trey was saying that, maybe you got something to learn, buddy. All right.
Dang.
And whenever you're crying in your bedroom and your mom walks in and said, "What are you listening to that made you cry so much, Alex?" You look at her and say, "It's just a podcast."
You know what we should do one time for a commercial?
What?
We should actually just paste the audio of like a Japanese commercial for like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.